Shalom, everyone. Hope that you are doing well and that you are managing with the pandemic and quarantining, and hope that everyone's obviously healthy and safe. Today, we talk about the second Torah portion in our fourth book of the Torah, in the book of Numbers, in Bamidbar, and it is called Naso. And Naso has some very interesting and intriguing pieces to it. Some parts are just we don't really get, particularly in our sort of 2020 mindset. Also, some things we're probably not comfortable with in our 2020 mindset, so we'll be talking about those clearly. Watching this video right now, and then right when it ends, like I always say, you have a few minutes to relax, have some coffee, get some water. Then at 9:30, please hit the Zoom link and join me for our Zoom chat about Naso. So that's coming up soon. This little video, and then, like I mentioned, 9:30, hit the Zoom button for us to talk about Naso. So I want to talk to you about what we'll talk about in a few minutes. In Naso is the Nazirite laws. So if you know anything about the Nazirite laws, they're pretty complicated, and a Nazirite sort of makes a vow to get something in return, almost to say, like, I vow to if this can happen. So there's this, but not only is it a sort of if-then statement, but there's a vow involved, and we'll talk a little about vows. Vows are very complicated in Judaism. If you make a vow in a very traditional sense, you really can't break a vow. So we'll talk a little about vows, but the Nazirites sort of took a vow, and part of the vow in this, by the way, in this section, in this part of Naso, talks about exactly what the vow is that they will not do. And there are actually 4 things to be part of the Nazirite acceptance of these vows. There are 4 prohibitions. I mean, there are 4 things in general. Some are prohibitions. And so we're going to talk about all 4 of them. One of them is clearly, you can see behind me, are scissors. And one of the pieces of being a Nazirite is that your commitment is not to cut your hair. It's part of the deal. You're not allowed to cut your hair if you're engaging in this Nazirite vow. So, for instance, in my case, this would be problematic. But in other cases, it's okay if you're willing to take on that vow. And there are 2 other pieces, and then the sort of fourth piece is like a special sacrifice you have to do to sort of culminate the vow experience. So there are like 3 components to the vow, and then there is the sort of 4th piece, which is the special sacrifice you have to do, all in this Torah portion. I already gave you one. One of them is not cutting your hair. There are 2 others, and I want to talk to you about those 2. Oh, I'm not going to talk to you about the 2 others. You have to join me. You have to come and hang out with me in a couple of minutes at 9:30, and then we can talk more about vows, about the Nazirite laws, and about the 2 other things that you really can't do, plus the sacrifice. So I gave you 1. There are 2 more. No cheating. Well, I mean, I guess you can, because this is not the first time you've gone through this Torah portion. So it was in the same piece of Torah last year as well. Anyway, I'll see you really soon. 9:30, hit the Zoom link. We'll talk a little more about Nazirite laws. Look forward to seeing you soon.